Ladies and gentlemen, my name is BrendenPlayz. This is Total Extreme Wrestling for our All Elite Wrestling Save. We are in the first week of October, which means it is time for our Dynamite special here on this episode. I'm so excited to have this. We're hoping to have one of our best shows in the series to date. So far, our best Dynamite is 72. The goal today is to beat that. Well, we're not going to waste any time today. We've kind of got all our storylines set in stone. We've got it all ready to go. Our main objective is to try and get as much storyline here as we can before we execute our big matches. So on this episode of Dark that's already booked, that's what we're going to try and do. And also, we're going to plan on trying to just give a little bit more exposure to a lot of the roster. So let's go ahead and start off the show and get straight into it. Alright, so this is the pre-show. We had Orange Cassidy cutting a promo, hyping himself up for a 55. It's pretty good for Orange Cassidy. He hyped him up, as much as Orange Cassidy would. Maybe he gave us a thumbs up or a wink, I don't know. But Orange Cassidy is someone that, personally, I'm not a huge fan of, but you got to put your feelings aside. And TW, it's not about that. It's about pushing the right guys. And Orange Cassidy does really well in everything we give him. So I think it's time that we get him into a program. We start getting him a feud of some sorts, and we go for it. I'm actually thinking, just off the top of my head, I haven't really thought about who I should put him with, but someone maybe like a Lance Archer, like a very unlikely, matchup. Like Orange Cassidy's got zero chance of beating Lance, and he actually has to try to beat him. And that might give something for Lance to do, and really probably Lance will win, but, he might get a good match out of Lance. So maybe we go with that. Another pre-show match, Shawn Spears defeated Pineapple Pete in a quick 5-minute match. Shawn Spears 38, Pineapple Pete 29 in the end. Not a great match, obviously, but look, again, Shawn Spears has got ice-cold momentum. We've got to get him some wins to try and turn things around, see if we can get anything out of him. We did bring in a local guy, Dan Mather. You might know him from NXT. Well, he's not employed by anyone right now, so we decided to give him a match just for Lance Archer to beat, basically. On the pre-show, Lance Archer defeated him. Lance performed at 56, a 38 rated match in the end. Lance Archer is in amazing form, and his performance was stood out as being good. So, realistically, Lance is doing really well. I think we got to try and strike while the iron is hot, because otherwise, what's the point? He's in great form and he's not really being used. So, like I said, Orange Cassidy, it may not be a great matchup. You think it might not really work too well, but the seriousness of Lance and the not giving an F from Orange Cassidy, it might really kind of just work. And it's two guys in the mid-card of similar popularity that are doing nothing. I think we might go with it. Let's do it. Another pre-show match, Thunder Rosa defeated Mel. Thunder Rosa 44 rated performance. That is really good. Mel 24, 39 rated match. Again, Thunder Rosa, now I think she's really probably close to locking in a deal with AEW long term. I think we might start to really put her into the mix as well. Alright, we opened up the show with MJF. Now, the thing about this episode of Dark is it airs after Dynamite. So today we kind of gave Dark, we kind of booked it as though we're booking it after Dynamite, which is always what we should be doing. But more so today because we're still doing things to try and basically increase the storyline heat, but also keep it to make sense. So in this one, we have MJF come out and give the audience a lecture on why he's the greatest AEW champion ever. So, that could obviously mean that, MJF and Jon Moxley, still, for whatever reason, we don't have to kind of think too much about the finish or anything like that. We could just have MJF come out and glow. And that's what we did. It gained storyline heat for us, and it was a 77 rated segment, so that's really good. Alright, next up we had a 5-on-5 match, a 10-woman tag team match. Realistically, this purpose was just to get all the women out there, get them all on TV, and get them in a match, and get us a bit of an idea of who to push, who's the right, person for the job. So we had Serena Deeb, Diamante, Chris Statlander, Big Swole, and Brandy Rhodes team up to take on Bea Priestley, Priscilla Kelly, Ivelisse, Penelope Ford, and Nyla Rose. So of course this does feature some of the women from that women's four-way match that will happen on Dynamite. So let's have a look at the results. So we did give the win to the babyface team, so Brandy Rhodes' team. So Serena performed at 34, Diamante 32, Chris Statlander 39, Brandy Rhodes 38, Big Swole 29, Nyla Rose 41, so she was the best in the match. Penelope Ford 30, Evilise was the second best, Priscilla Kelly 35, and Bea Priestley 29. So Bea and Big Swole were equal worst in the match, so no surprise there. Chris Statlander and Priscilla were both off their game as well, so they could have done a little bit better as well. And Priscilla picked up some sort of stomach infection, so that's not good either. But yeah, good way to get all the women out there. A 37 rated match, it's not bad. So, you know, I wanted just to get them all some TV time and see how they went. So I don't think a stomach infection will be a long injury. Brandy Rhodes has got some heat backstage because it was felt as though she made the mistake that caused Priscilla Kelly to get hurt. So Brandy botching already. What a surprise. Botchy Rhodes. Isaiah Cassidy versus The Butcher one-on-one. So of course we do have Private Party and The Butcher and Blade in a storyline at the moment. So we had Cassidy versus Butcher. Cassidy 46, that is really good. Butcher 30, not so good. So these guys just don't have the pop to really get the crowd invested in them. But like I said in the previous episodes, this is a way where we can try and get them on TV, try and get them a bit more popularity. 30 rated match. Isaiah Cassidy picked up the win with a fast roll-up, so he got a surprise win over The Butcher to advance this storyline. Britt Baker was with Rebel as Britt bragged about being the champion, and you know, she was not being so great to Rebel as she forced Rebel to carry all her bags while she wandered off on her own, soaking in all the greatness that she's got. So 37. Again, I thought Britt Baker's promos would be, you know, fantastic. I thought this is, you know, be a way to really boost up the women's division in some sort of way. But yeah, I think it's not really working as well as I would have liked. 37, look, it's not bad, but you know, I just thought I had a little bit more hope with Britt Baker. But maybe give the belt back to Sheeta? I mean, would be the worst thing. I just felt as though Sheeta just didn't have a lot going on. I just thought it was time for a change. But, you know, Britt, you know, her in-ring work isn't going to be her strongest point, so I thought the promos would be, but so far it hasn't gone so well. Okay, main event. The Young Bucks took on the Initiative for 63. Nick Jackson, 79. Matt with the same. Peter Avalon, 35. And Brandon Cutler, 33. So I think I might have actually clicked twice and we've skipped a segment, but we did turn the Initiative, so they are now they're all babyface, they're all good to go. So we can start using them in a better way. So we figured why not test them against the Young Bucks. And we had FTR ringside as well, so we advanced that storyline because, you know, we've noticed obviously the key to getting Young Bucks and FTR, the most out of that storyline is through matches rather than promos. We didn't want to give away a big match, so we didn't go with a better team, but we figured let's go with the Initiative and let's give them a chance to shine. So a 63 is not too bad. Yeah, so we did miss one segment, and it was just a Will Hobbs and Ricky Starks hype video for 38. So that's fine. Yeah, I accidentally clicked twice, so that's fine. But overall, a 45 rated episode of Dark. So yeah, not too bad in the end. But as I said earlier, Lance Archer, he's got 46 pop, he's got white hot momentum, and he's not gaining any popularity despite the fact he's got all this momentum. That's not good. Orange Cassidy's got 45 pop, 46 and 48 in some areas, 48 in the southeast. That's the one that matters the most for us. So he's got all this popularity as well. We're not really making the most of it at all. So I think, why not? Let's go with something a little bit different. You know, you got the super serious Lance Archer and the sloth-like Orange Cassidy, the guy who just does not care. Let's try that out. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so Orange Cassidy, Lance Archer, we've got that in. Obviously, Jake Roberts talking for Lance. I think that'll be great. And we can put the Best Friends as a whole team in there to kind of get the whole, you know, trio involved as well. And that's an easy way to have Lance beat up some of Orange Cassidy's friends without really going and ruining the match or giving it away too early. So I think that'll be nice. I think that's more of a Dynamite thing. Those guys are both in the mid-40s, and that's a pretty good position to be in. So I think it would only make sense if we try and execute some good segments and get these guys into the 50s, especially Lance Archer. He's a main event level talent, and I think the fact that he's stuck in the mid-card of hell for us, we've got to try and fix that. And Orange Cassidy, as I said, I'm not a big fan of him, but geez, he performs pretty well in the TW game. He's averaging 69, which is incredible. He's got all these PWG matches as well he's been doing. But even in AEW, 66. So his last match was in August. So we didn't use him at all in September. So I think we're really underutilizing him and undervaluing him. Orange Cassidy and Sammy Guevara in June was a 70 rated. Jericho and Cassidy was 79. Orange Cassidy performed 68 in that match. Think about that, 68 against Jericho. And he performed 67 against MJF. So yeah, he's pretty good. Gets good ratings, good results. So it's time that we put our feelings aside and we give Orange Cassidy a bit of a push. Albeit against Lance Archer, he'll probably lose, but it's good for both guys, I think. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the 1-year anniversary special of Dynamite is booked. Let's take a look. Alright, in the pre-show, Eddie Kingston cut a promo on Dustin Rhodes, and he has challenged him to a match on the next episode of Dynamite. I wanted to have this match on the main show, just didn't quite have enough time to do it, so I figured next week, that's okay. It gives us another really strong match to build next week around. Kingston and Rhodes, maybe some sort of gimmicky match involved. We'll try and figure out what's the best stipulation there. 49 for that one by Kingston. Marco Stunt and Ricky Starks had a one-on-one match. 42 rated. Marco Stunt 42. Starks 36. Stunt was off his game, so could have done even better. We gave Ricky the win. Look, I don't like Marco Stunt. I really believe that he brings down Jurassic Express. I don't think he's a great addition. I think as a manager, that'd be fine, but just him in the ring, not a fan. It's very hard for me to believe that he could beat up anyone. But 42, so he does pretty well in TW land, so you got to give him that. So maybe Marco Stunt might be pretty good as more of an enhancement guy than some of the other guys we've been using. So maybe we should probably put him in that position a little bit more, maybe against Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Brody Lee, for example. Darby Allin defeated Max Caster in a 44 rated match. Darby performed at 51, Max 24. Just another way to get Darby Allin another win as we continue to try and figure out what to do with him next. And the Inner Circle gave Omega and Page one last chance to forfeit before their match. So Jericho and Guevara basically saying, look, you guys have been up and down, save yourself the embarrassment. You're going to lose. There's no way you're going to beat us tonight. Save yourself the embarrassment and just forfeit now and give us the win. Well, speaking of that match, we're going to have that to open up our edition of Dynamite. So the pre-show is done. Omega and Page versus Jericho and Guevara. The tag titles are on the line. We're praying for a big one. We really believe this is going to be one of our best matches of the year. Is it? Let's have a look. 85 rated. Oh yeah, that's what we want to see. The Inner Circle won. They defeated Omega and Page in just under 20 minutes when Jericho pinned Adam Page after Kenny Omega hit Adam Page by accident. Was it accidental? Did he mean to do that? Well, doesn't matter because it cost them the match. The Inner Circle defend the tag titles for the very first time. Guevara 68, Jericho MVP 84, Omega only 82. You probably would expect a little bit better out of Omega, but I guess he's lacking some of that popularity. But Adam Page as well 76. So overall, everyone did really, really well. And 85 is better than everyone did in the match, so it exceeded expectations. And we did have this as a steal the show match, so we did take a risk with that. Seems as though it did pay off in the end. So an 85 rated match is amazing, so happy with that. Next segment, Kenny Omega attacked Adam Page post-match as he was absolutely fuming about losing. So he blames it all on Paige, and he just had all this rage. And there we go, Kenny Omega may have decided to take the plunge, or was it just, he was just frustrated about the loss. Maybe Adam Page will forgive him for it. We'll have to wait and see, but 76 for that segment. So could it have gone down a little stronger? We haven't gone with a full turn yet, despite the fact that he's furious, but maybe on the next episode we'll have Kenny really go full heel mode, and that's it. Adam Page might give him one last chance and then try and figure it out, but yeah, Kenny might not want to go for it. Alright, we had our women's fatal 4-way match to follow it up. Nyla Rose, Chris Statlander, Ivelisse, and Diamante in a 4-way match. Chris Statlander, we decided to give her the win, and she had the best performance in the match with 44. So Nyla Rose 42, Ivelisse 43. Ivelisse is doing really well. Diamante 34. So we gave Statlander the win. Look, Statlander, she defeated Priscilla Kelly and Bea Priestley, and now the win here. We've been slowly building her up to try and be one of the top contenders, if not a potential champion. And she is backing it up pretty well with her performances. So I've been pretty happy with the way she's been going. And it's good to get another strong babyface in the mix with, Sheeta right there at the top, Britt Baker as the top heel champion. We could always get Nyla Rose, and now obviously Ivelisse is very good as well. We get them in the mix. Thunder Rose is not far away if we want to bring her up. And, as much as it pains me to say, we could even put Brandy Rose in the mix too. So we've got a few options now. A few people to work with. It's going well. But nonetheless, Statlander with the win. Alright, Jake Roberts demands that somebody fights Lance Archer. He's an animal locked inside a cage. It's time to be unleashed. It's time for someone to feel the wrath of Lance Archer. Orange Cassidy decides to step up and accept that challenge. Orange Cassidy, he's got big balls. He's not afraid to back down from anybody. He doesn't care who it is. He will fight anyone. So he's going to try and fight Lance Archer. 58 rated segment there, and we kick off the Cassidy and Archer feud. As we mentioned earlier on, I believe that this is a good way to get two guys who've got pretty even popularity in the mix, hopefully producing strong segments, and get them both over. It'd be really great if we can get both of these guys closer to 50. They're in the mid-40s at the moment, and we can get them to 50. That'd be fantastic for our roster going forward. Nick Jackson took on Dax Harwood one-on-one in a 75 rated match. Nick Jackson picked up the win. He performed at 74, Dax 63, and we gained some heat for the FTR Young Bucks storyline. Well, we can't do the tag team match just yet. We're going to save that. Why not do the singles? Nick defeating Dax there to build up a little bit more heat there. Dax, FTR wouldn't give him the rematch, but they would give him, they got forced into the singles. And 75 rated match is really, really good. This is a great way to boost up the storyline here because we've been struggling with it. And, look, there's no doubt about it. The Young Bucks will perform in the ring really well. And FTR, they're not far away as well from being on that level. So this is a good match, and it performed really well. So that's two really good matches so far on this show. So this is looking good. Cody Rhodes cut a promo on Miro in the next segment, and he addressed the accusations that he bailed on all the boys back in the WWE, and he failed to try and improve the old system. So Cody Rhodes, the story, I guess, is that, whether it's true or not, but the story is that instead of trying to improve the WWE, he decided to leave and try and do his own thing and be, be a renegade, I suppose. But he could have stayed to try and fix what was in front of him. Instead, he bailed on everyone. And now Miro, he's left the old system as well, looking for a greener pasture. And Cody Rhodes has kind of created that. So, Cody Rhodes saying, look, hey, I bailed because it was never going to change. Instead, I helped create AEW. So that's kind of the storyline we're going with at the moment, and trying to create a little bit of tension slowly between Miro and Rhodes, despite the fact that they mutually respect each other. Instead of going with the straight up babyface versus babyface storyline like that, we're getting a small little bit of dissension in there. 75 for that one. All right, we had a Shida and Baker hype video before their match. So we're going to do the Women's Championship match, Shida and Baker. Let's see it. 46. Okay. So we gave Britt Baker the win when Rebel, of course, got herself involved, saving the day for Britt, allowing her to somehow survive against Shida, and she defends her championship for the very first time. Shida 48, Baker 39, 46 rated match. Pretty good. Obviously, Baker's performances aren't quite as good as Shida, we know that. But, Chris Statlander picks up the win. Now we'll transition over to Statlander versus Baker. And Shida, I think maybe Shida versus Ivelisse might be a really good feud for both women, just to have some strong matches and try and get themselves a little bit more over in that way. So we've got a few things planned for the women, and I think it's good to have the championship on Baker, doing something a little bit different, where Shida, her promos aren't great, so we really have to continue with strong matches. I think this allows Shida to be open and a little bit more free, where she can just kind of work with a lot of the roster to try and get good matches that way, rather than just having her as a champion, just beating everyone and just having no contenders in the end. This way, Shida stays strong and continues to build momentum and for a potential rematch down the line, and hopefully try and elevate some of the other women around her. MJF cuts a promo on Jon Moxley just before their big main event match. Only 70 rated in the end, so MJF not quite delivering the best promo there. Didn't hurt the storyline here, but you had to believe that wouldn't really benefit from it. Well, this is it. MJF. I don't see any way that MJF and Jon Moxley will beat that opening tag team contest, but let's have a look. MJF, Moxley for the belt. 79. Well, look, that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. MJF 66, Jon Moxley 83. Jon Moxley defeated MJF by countout. MJF decided to take a walk and fight another day. He knew that he was on the verge of losing to Moxley, and he escaped. He got the hell out of there. So Moxley took a big bump in the match to help it, and a 79 rated. So this gives Moxley a win, gives us a reason to do a rematch at Full Gear, and I think it gives us a rematch to potentially think about maybe doing a cage or some sort of stipulation where countouts are irrelevant, and that can give us a reason to do a big, gimmicky match and do something like that. But yeah, look, I was thinking about giving MJF another, screwy cheating win, but I figured this is a better way to make it one apiece between the two and keep, and give this storyline a little bit more purpose, something a little bit different and a new element towards it. And this one obviously being Moxley should have won, was going to win, but MJF decided to run away. So maybe MJF's a little bit scared of Jon Moxley, and maybe, obviously the gimmick match will help there. But 79 for the main event. Great opening contest. Nick and Dax was great as well. Surely we have our best Dynamite. Surely, let's have a look. We did it. 76 rated show. Yes. Our best Dynamite to date. Huge. Beating our previous best of 72 at 76. We had to do two massive matches. We knew the Inner Circle versus Page and Omega was going to be our best match. Moxley and MJF is huge. And look, we even threw Nick and Dax in there to try and get us another big one. And the women's matches were okay in between. So I'm really happy with that show. And look, we got some good stuff planned for the next few weeks as well. Obviously Eddie Kingston, Dustin, I'm looking forward to that one. Cassidy and Archer. So we established a couple of new things as well that I'm looking forward to. So that's great result in the end. Well, we really went all out, no pun intended, with our episode of Dynamite. So let's hope that the ratings reflected it. Please, we need a ratings bump. What did we get? We got 863,000 viewers, about 130,000 viewer increase from last week. I will take it. We needed the bump. 76 rated show, 1.15 TV rating. Hallelujah. We actually did something decent. NXT, 1.5 million, so still nearly doubling us. They had a 72 rated in the end. They had a cage match, Shirai and LeRae, for 83. 3. Well, hey, our match was still better. Still better than NXT. I will take that. Now, I wonder if NXT's had a better match in their history than us. We had a really good one, 70, 85 rated there, 76 rated show. So their best ever event is a 75. So we've actually gotten a better overall show than all of NXT shows so far. So we've done better than them. And as for matches, well, we have beaten their best match as well. So, obviously, attendances, we're nowhere near them. Viewership, ratings, whatever, nowhere near them. But that's a really good result, honestly. We've gotten some really good accolades that we can, say, hey, we're doing better than NXT in a few different areas. I'm happy with that. Kenny Omega believes Sammy Guevara can talk well, give the kid a promo time, and the crowds will respond. And Moxley says Max Caster's a natural talker. The kid's worth giving some promo time, in my opinion. Maybe on AEW Dark, we might have to give him some promo time. And of course, we know our ratings there. We did have one little injury concern with Priscilla. She'll be out for just 5 days. That is fine. No worries. So, alright, well, obviously, we had a big show. Did we see any popularity swings? Adam Page, 63, 64. So, another excellent match from him, and he's still slowly on the rise. Jericho, no change. Cody's in the 66 mark. Moxley, no change. Omega's getting close to 70. MJF, no change. So, because it's not a pay-per-view, I don't expect to see too much coming out of this in terms of popularity swings or changes or anything like that. Miro's into the 60s, that's good. Nick Jackson gained some popularity. See, he's up to 58 after beating Dax, so he's actually got one more point than his brother now, which is interesting. Dax, he did not drop, so despite the fact he lost, still just a good match, improved Nick Jackson's popularity. So that's positive. So that's something for us to really be happy with. And I don't think we really will get too much else out of this. Sammy Guevara, 55 popularity now in the Southeast. He's had that since October, so he's already had that, but just, it's just crazy how much he has grown. Britt Baker, 35 pop still, despite beating Sheeta. And Sheeta, she's obviously dipped down to 34, which is not ideal. Chris Statlander, she's got 34 as well. So that's okay. Nyla Rose, 35. So she's still about the same. And Evilise, well, she's got 29 in the Southeast. And some of the other areas, she's really starting to increase as well. So she's making a bit of improvements, which is great to see. And Diamante, her popularity's been pretty lousy, still only at 19. But there has been some improvement from her, so that's positive signs. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at, heading out of our 1 year anniversary special. So we had a really good show. Full Gear is about 5 weeks away. So we have to decide what the plan is for Full Gear. I'm guessing we'll probably go with Baker and Statlander. I really would like to do Cody Miro at that event. I want to try and just keep that rolling until then. I feel like that would be, by the time we get to Full Gear, I think we'll get Miro's popularity a little bit higher, and this match will mean that a little bit more. FTR to Young Bucks, well, we had a bit of a resurgence with this storyline after that match. Can we drag it out and get a rematch at Full Gear? Maybe. I'd like to do it, but it would be definitely a bit of a stretch. Inner Circle versus Omega and Page. Well, I think this is now going to morph into Omega versus Page, and we'll just do that singles match. And in the Inner Circle, well, they do need an opponent for Full Gear, so I suppose that's where we should have probably thought, okay, FTR, Young Bucks, the winner of that faces the Inner Circle. Well, we also did think about potentially throwing another team in the mix as well originally, so we'll have to figure that one out. Hardy and Cage, I think we can do that at Full Gear. Moxley and MJF, well, as I said, probably now we should go and figure out, what sort of gimmick match we want to do with that one. Cassie and Archer will probably do that full gear. That'll be a good one. And this women's #1 contender storyline, well, that can finish up now that Chris Statlander was the winner, and will also end Baker and Sheeta as well. So it gives us a chance to do a couple of new storylines for the women and figure out what we're going to do with our roster going forward. Who's the right guy to push. And now that, obviously Omega and Paige, this storyline's over, we might need to think about, okay, is Sammy Guevara someone really we want to go all the way with? I guess what I'm trying to say is, do we keep the belts on the Inner Circle? Do we keep that team going? Or do we shift it over to the Young Bucks or FTR? Because for me right now, I'm not really sure who I should give the belts to. Should I go with FTR or should I go with the Young Bucks? Obviously, if it's Inner Circle versus FTR and Young Bucks in a three-way, we could get the best of both worlds in that situation. But FTR versus Inner Circle is obviously heel versus heel. I'm not sure if that's the right way to go. So there's a few question marks we have to try and figure out. There's a few things we've got to try and sort. But what we do know is we've just had a very excellent show of Dynamite. So feeling pretty confident. Well, we might take a look at SmackDown before we wrap things up. SmackDown 82 rated show. Rollins and Elias 87. Kind of puts things into perspective for us. How well the WWE is still doing. Even if you forget about NXT, their main show and TEW World still do so well. Geez, Elias has a good stats. 60 pop, but he has got some nice stats. He's one of my favorites, Elias. I've always been a fan of him. Seth Rollins, 77 pop as well. But yeah, so we've got a little bit of work to do before we get anywhere near that WWE level. But for us, we've got 67 pop in the Southeast, and that's an actual increase. So we've improved our popularity in the Southeast. Not so much anywhere else, but 67 there is really, really strong. So when we do get crowds back, I don't know when we're going to start doing that, but that gives me some hope that we can really start getting some big attendances for our shows, because we need it. We're still heavily in the red, but if we can improve our ratings, and that's probably one of the reasons why I'm trying to get as strong of a rating as I can, that will give us a bit more broadcasting revenue, and that will help us figure it out, help us to try and get some more money in the bank, because we're losing it rapidly. Alright, with that being said, we've had the 1 year anniversary special. Now we turn our attention to Full Gear. I hope you'll join us for it. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like on it and subscribe to see more. As I said, we're really just getting started here. We're making some great ground with a lot of the guys on their roster. There's more success to come. Looking forward to it. Hope you'll join me for it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.